T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
You are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. The Trap Talk podcast presents Holy Gecko Sessions. I'm your boy MJ. What is good, everybody? If this is your first time tapping in, do your boy MJ a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. That way you're on top of every single podcast I drop here on the Trap Talk Podcast YouTube channel. Drop a comment. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you're getting out of these episodes, man. Let me know if you don't even like these. How about that? If you think that this is a waste, go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know. Either way, please. I love to say, want to hear some feedback from you guys. I want to say thank you to all my subscribers out there. Man, I'm just shy of 6,000 subscribers. And I got to say, thank you so much. I appreciate it. This has all been built organically, all because you guys spending your time with me. So I got to say thank you so much. Means a lot. Shouts on my trappers. Shouts on my early birds in the building. I'll get to you guys here in just a second, man. But before we tap into things tonight, before we get things rocking and rolling, I got to say tonight's episode is brought to you by Focus Cube Habitats. The future of enclosures are here. That's right. Flex in Texas all day, every day. Got a reptile. They need to be inside of a Focus Cube Habitats. Everything behind me, Focus Cube Habitats. Thank you, Stephen and Ashley, for believing in your boy. Appreciate you so much. But guys, head over to focuscubehabitats.com. Check out what they have going on. Always elevating. They're always evolving. They always have crazy shit popping off. I'm telling you, man, you never know what's going to be released next with Focus Cube Habitats. So make sure you go follow them on Instagram as well. They're very active on Instagram. And they're also Patreon members of mine as well. Just awesome, just all around support. So I'm going to support them as much as I can. I hope you guys can back me up on this and go to Focus Cube Habitats and place an order. Let's make them even more busier than they are now. And yes, thank you, Stephen and Ashley. Appreciate you guys. Love the support out of Texas. I love Texas. Texas in my heart. Guys, if you out there are looking for exclusive content, if you want to support what I do more than just watch and give me a like, a couple ways you could go about that. Head over to the very first link that you see in the description below. Come join the Trap Talk Patreon family. That's right. I have been building for over 2 years now a community of Patreon members, aka the Trappers. Some diehard reptile keepers in this. And man, we're in this for the long run. I got to say thank you to all my diehard Patreon members, guys who've been riding with me this entire time. You guys know who you are, all 140 of you. I love you guys so much. But guys, like I said, if you want to be a part of this awesome community, if you're looking to grow, come join the Trap Talk Patreon family. As soon as you join the Patreon family, you get a link to the Discord. And the Discord taps you in with everyone, man. I'm telling you, it is nonstop popping in the Discord. Multiple channels. You could buy snakes or reptiles and sell them or whatever the hell you want. Look for them. We have, Bob Smith alerts, everything. We look out for each other, man. It's no joke. Shout out to the Patreon members, my trappers, day oneers. Can't wait for Trap Fest 2023, a big event that I throw for my Patreon members. You feel me? Strictly invite only. I do not play around. Mad celebrity reptile keepers coming through. You already know how I do it, man. Last year was a damn good time. That's all I got to say. Love my Patreon members. Guys, give me a follow on Instagram. If you don't follow me, then you're sleeping. I'm telling you, I got a lot of amazing projects. I keep a lot of amazing arboreal snakes, ball pythons and boas and pop wands, you name it. I'm very tapped into this game. I'm just not a podcaster. Sorry, I'm way cooler than that. So go over to Instagram, check me out, TrapGod619. That's where I'm pretty active. And you could also go follow the podcast's Instagram page as well, the Trap Talk Podcast. If you're on Facebook, please head over to the Trap Talk Podcast Facebook page and give that a like. Go follow me. Go check out a live there on my Facebook. I am very active with all my podcast stuff on there as well. And I'm going to be interacting more with people on Facebook. I got to say, listen, you're starting to win me over little by little, but no, I'm not converting. If you were to ask me, Instagram all day, every day. And that's a fact. Guys, Holy Gecko Sessions. What the hell? It's about to go down. We got an awesome female breeder sitting down with us tonight. She came highly recommended by one of my OG best friends in the game. I talk about him quite a bit. You guys know my boy Kenny, cold-blooded only. Big salute to my boy Kenny. Listen, anytime Kenny says, hey, MJ, I need to talk to you about someone, because I could tell you right now, he doesn't do it a lot. So whenever he taps me into somebody like that, I go, okay, I got to hear what you have to say, Kenny. So I value what this man has to tell me every time we talk over the phone. So the fact that he facilitated this guest to come on tonight's show, I'm very excited for this. We got some amazing questions lined up for Allie Ross. So guys, don't be shy with the super chats tonight. Let's get the super chats cracking. My girl Allie is really cracking things off with her project. So if you have a question, you have a certain topic, anything that you want to get out there, best thing you can do is, man, super chats are, they're everything. So go down to the super chat, drop a super chat, and I'll put it on the big screen and we will get things popping, man. What's up with my early birds? Who's here? Ready to rock and roll? Chantel, Pacific Rim Serpents. That's my girl right there. Go give her a follow on Instagram. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Team Zoo Dreams. Day oneer for sure. The homie Lizard Man 80897, Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Thanks for tapping in. The homie Constrictor Connection, Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Barbara J in the building, Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Celtic Reptiles, what is up? Thanks for tapping in. Geckos of the Coast, what is up? Thanks for tapping in. Slithery Serpents, my dog, what's up, player? Thanks for tapping in. Central Jersey, I was just on the east side of Jersey. What's good? Tap me in. Appreciate you being here. Sunshine State Sulfurs, what is up? Thanks for tapping in. Big boy, OG, triple OG, my very first Patreon member, day oneer, 1776 Exotics. We'll give him a follow. He's not to be slept on. I'm telling you right now. Tesla Mark. Mark, do you drive a Tesla? Fuck. Come on, really, guy? Like, you could have thought of it any different name. Ford Mark. Wise Guy Reptiles, what is good? Thanks for tapping in. Galaxy Reptiles, what is good? Thanks for tapping in. The Homegirl Nicole. I had an amazing new breed on the block series last Monday with Lady Tiss Exotics. Man, we tapped into some awesome conversations, something you don't want to miss. And go give her a follow on Instagram. She's a real one. Dom 702 Serpents, a recent Chondro keeper. That's right. He's trying to earn his stripes, baby. Go give my boy a follow. Dom 702. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Matty Yates in the building. What's up, Matty Yates? I got to catch you at the next show, Matt. Let me know what next show you're going at, and I'll tap in with you, bro. I appreciate it. The homie Aaron, be ready for tomorrow. We were just talking about new breed on the block series. Well, guess what? My homie Aaron's about to make a show tomorrow. I can tell you that much. Bosa Balls, aka Kiki, in the building. Thanks for being here, bro. I appreciate it. EH, what is up, player? Thanks for being here. Sloan Morphs, what up? Thanks for being here. Let's see who else is. Brandon Hernandez, my dog. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Thanks for being here. A1 Genetics. Thanks for the support. Appreciate you being here. Hexy in the building. Trap Talk Patreon member. What's up, player? Thanks for being here. JKJ, what is up? Thanks for being here. Trap Talk Patreon member. Peter Schwartz. We got Norway in the building. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. That's right. Trap Talk is global. Addicted to Cresties. Well, you're in the right place because I'm addicted to this series myself. This is awesome. MKB Reptiles. What is up? Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. KMS Reptiles. Thanks for being here. 422 Pythons. What is up? Thanks for being here. And we're going to end it with 422 Pythons. All right, guys. That's it. You know how I start these things, man. You got to, obviously I'm excited. My energy's high, but do what you guys got to do to stay hydrated. Get something to get your mind right, no matter what it is. Strap up. Buckle up. It's about to get hot. It's about to get heavy. That's right, because it's Sunday. If you're scared, go to church. No, I'm just kidding. Don't go to church. Chill right here. It's going to go down. Holy Gecko Sessions. Allie Ross coming at you right now. Let's go. Cheers.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
Allie, I'm so embarrassed. I uploaded your intro. I don't know why that showed John from Sim Container. Don't be mad at me. I'm so sorry. This is what it's
So,
This is it. Allie Ross in the flesh right here. How you doing, Allie?
hey, how are you?
I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie. I'm happy to have you on the show. Thank you for being here. How's everything on your end? How's everything going? How's life?
Oh, life's pretty good. Life's been busy, real busy.
Yeah?
I mean, I got the 400 geckos here, and I got a part-time job. So,
Wow. So you got the full-time and part-time gig going on.
yep.
Nice. Now I got to ask you before we get into things, is the part-time job specifically for insurance purposes, I'm assuming, or is that like a safety net, or what's the part-time job they're really there for when you're kind of doing the full-time thing with the reptiles?
It's half safety net and half insurance purposes.
I mean,
because they do provide pretty good insurance there, so I'll take it.
You never know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I'm not mad at. I came really hating my last job to the point where I was really depressed, and I did kind of go all in. And obviously, yeah, the insurance, I don't know. I could just see why people would always keep that as a backup. You know what I mean? And no matter what. So I think if things didn't probably go as well as they're going right now, I would at least be smart enough to have a backup job to make sure my insurance is covered.
Yeah.
You gotta be safe. You gotta be smart, man. But Allie, I'm so curious. How did you get into things? Listen, girl power. I love seeing a female here in front of me, but I want to know how things got started with you.
Usually when people ask me this, I hopped into geckos, but way back when I was always into reptiles, reptile hunting, even when I was just like a little kid.
Herper.
Yeah. So
Nice.
I'd go out and we had a huge forest. And I'd go catch frogs and snakes and stuff. And from there, it kind of started I actually lived down in Florida at the time. It was the huge crested gecko market hit. I went to my first reptile show in Orlando and found a crested gecko from actually manatee suncoast lizards, and picked that gecko up, and from there it usually just starts multiplying, and it multiplied pretty quick.
How old were you? Let's take it to the age. How old were you when that was going on with the Florida and the reptile show and you picking up that animal?
I was 22-ish, 23.
And I'm curious, what was going on in your life during then? Like 22 years old, right? You're stumbling across a reptile. Obviously, breeding these wasn't kind of in your mind. It was more just you liking them, or did you always have breeding behind what you were doing?
I actually didn't even know there was like this huge market. Like I said, the Orlando Repticon was literally my first reptile show. Like I had never been to one. It was actually really overwhelming.
Yeah,
but I never really knew anything about it. And then I just I looked at all the people breeding, and I was like, this would be kind of cool, to start breeding. Because at the time I actually worked for Disney, and I was a cook. And just had the day off and went to go look at reptiles. So
it's crazy how that's all it takes. Like you could really know nobody in this game and just go to a reptile show, and the next thing you know, you're breeding. But then, hey, I mean, that's obviously it happened because you obviously love you love reptiles. Like that's, listen, at the end of the day, a lot of this stuff, I would say majority of the people who come into this, it starts from the love of it, and I mean, I think that's the perfect case scenario before you get into breeding. You should love it first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I know I'm definitely right there with you on how quick things could pick up. You go from one thing to the next, and then next, you meet the next person who puts you on. So this shit could pick up really, really fast. So at what age did things start picking up for you? Like when did you go from like, oh, what a cute animal to like, all right, I want a cute project now. Like when did that start coming into play as far as in your career?
I think it was literally the next year that I just started picking up all these geckos. I went from 1 to 2 when I lived in Florida, and then the following year, I actually moved back up to Virginia, which is my home state. And just started looking around. Of course, at that time, you could actually kind of sell geckos on Facebook. So I found geckos, and breeders on Facebook and connected with them. And I think I actually went from 2 geckos to 20 within like a week and a half. And I actually just sold one of those babies I raised for 6 years and bred her and everything just a couple months ago. So
you sold an adult?
Yeah.
How often are you selling adults? Is that kind of a rare thing, or?
Oh no, well, if I had them, they go pretty fast. If I had them, I mean, it's pretty much daily. Like, I think I have 4 adults listed right now. But they go really, really fast. I mean, we had a huge pickup in the market in, I don't know, 2019, 2020. I think is kind of when more of the Koreans started importing. So we kind of had a huge pickup with the Korean market. And of course they did want babies, but they wanted adults so they could breed them. So if anybody had them, I mean, the past couple of years, like if you had an adult, it would go. I mean, like immediately, as soon as you listed it.
Would you give the props to the Koreans as far as like picking up this market? Do you really feel like that's what kind of got the ball rolling?
I think it's both US and Korean, but I definitely give props to the Koreans. I have, some pretty good friends over there who do this as importers, and they breed and everything, and I love them to death. So yeah, I can definitely give huge props to them for breeding and picking up the market.
I don't know. I'm not gonna say who said it. I don't know what episode it was. It was recent, but instead of saying like the Korean market, they were saying like the Asians. I mean, like, we got Asians here too, though. It's like, what do you mean? Like, so I just thought that was funny, but I know what he meant. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Koreans, the Chinese do have some. I mean, I know like the Hong Kong. I'm trying to think. Hong Kong was a huge hit for us for the longest time. I don't know as far as imports go. Like, I don't know where it was easier to get them in. I don't know if it was easier just to get them into Hong Kong. And that kind of just pushed more of an outreach for them. But yeah.
Let's kind of talk about when you really started having to look at what you're doing. As far as, you're inquiring more animals, your collection's starting to build up. I'm curious as far as who was helping you research the stuff that you were understanding, where these need to be put in, how you should set up racks, how you should breed. Where were you gathering this information from?
So actually, my best friend basically through all this has been Sam with Crestopia Reptiles.
Who?
Sam with Crestopia Reptiles.
Crestopia? Okay, I'm listening.
Yep. She's actually
Mathematics?
good friends with Kenny. Yes, Mathematics.
Okay, I'm listening.
She's actually good friends with Kenny too. Yeah.
All right.
So I met Kenny through her, but to go back to her, I think we met probably, I'm going to be honest, I don't remember when we first met, but it was probably half a year when I moved back to Virginia. I'd gotten a gecko from her. And she just kind of took me under her wing and started mentoring me and helping me look into things. And I mean, pretty much from there, we've both been helping each other out a lot, but she helps me way more than I help her, I think.
Wow. Okay. Now, as far as leading up to that goes, were you the one kind of just drilling her with questions, or was she just kind of like influencing you to kind of get more involved? Like, who was kind of pushing who? I'm curious.
I think it was probably me more asking her questions.
Good.
I feel like she's a little shy before you get to know her, but then like once you do and she knows you, she's just like all in to trying to help people.
Right.
And I definitely felt like I was bugging her like in the beginning, but she helped me out a lot, and she says she never minded that.
Now, out of those conversations, I'm sure you've had many and still have many conversations. Any conversation that stood out that you would always remember that helped you do something next level in your game that you could think of?
Like
whether I'm sorry, I was gonna say like whether if it's like a certain types of projects you should go into, or like how to get the actual like anything. Like what you know, there's so many like things that I've learned off a simple conversation that just like made like was like a light bulb turning on. Like that's kind of what I meant. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. I think just you know, not to follow the trends, because if you follow the trends, you're chasing the trends and you're never really going to catch up. So if you
Right.
breed what you love, it's always going to benefit you. So you're never going to hate it, for
Right.
one.
Right.
And for two, I mean, you'll start to produce this really nice stuff. And then you'll realize, hey, that was a really good decision to just trust, you know, your gut, trust what you really want to do with it.
Right. I got to say, you do, from what I've seen on your page, you work with more than just one species of geckos. Am I right?
Yes. I
What
work
are-
with
Mhm.
Iridactylodes, the Leachianus geckos, and gargoyle geckos.
Right.
I don't do anything else. I've had chihuahuas before. I'm not the biggest fan of chihuahuas. I
Why
mean, I
not?
love chihuahuas. I funny enough, even though I have the leechies, chihuahuas kind of scare me.
They're scared. What? Just because the way they're like long and stuff, like the way they're kind of like
just the way that, like the way they look at you.
oh shit.
Like with leechies, there's definitely a higher level of intelligence there than like crested geckos. And chihuahua, like when they lay eggs, females, well, I think both females and males, they will go after you if you try and go in for the eggs.
Wow.
Leechies don't necessarily do that. I've never had them do it for me, but you know, I think it's one of those things. They can, but they haven't.
Now I got to tell you, I have a lychee. It's a Nuami locality. Did I say that right? Nuami.
Nuami. Yeah.
Okay. I love it. His name's Hank Hill Country. He's what a guy. But like, man, this guy will bite me. Like he bites. You know what I mean? Like he'll go from just like, first off, he's a glider. Like he likes to jump and do his thing, right? But like if I try to keep him there, he'll bite me. You know what I mean? Does that kind of grow out, or is that kind of personality? Like, does that kind of stick with them from what you've seen, or how's that work?
It depends. It definitely depends on the gecko. They do have their own personality types. I only have one here currently who is totally territorial. He will go after you. I mean, I'll be standing right next to the cage trying to feed other geckos, hardly moving, and he will start barking and chirping and just trying to go after me. But I have other ones who I can just reach my hand in, grab them right off the log. They'll chirp once and then be totally cool with just chilling out.
Hey, we got 50 people in the building, shots of people tapping in, but guys, don't forget to hit the like. It's Allie Ross. Please, let's get the likes up. Don't ever disrespect us like that again. Yeah, listen, I love personalities. I love an animal that kind of shows you that it's just not a pussy. You know what I mean? But it's also like, you know, I don't want to say, I mean, yeah, I guess it was kind of scary getting bit by a ball python in the beginning, and now it will startle me, but it's like, I don't give a shit if a ball python bites me. But it's something about lizard bites. I don't know. I mean, I do have a little bit of PTSD from a lizard I got bit by, but like every time I've even been like just clamped on, it stings. Like it really stings. And I don't know why, but it's like an after effect burn. And it's like, it never seems to like fail, like to like really bother me when I get bit by a lizard. So, or, you know, yeah. So I don't know. I love it though. Like, you know, it's better than it not doing anything. I can tell you that much. But yeah, I'm curious as far as the foundation you built that really helped you get going here, Allie. What's the species you dabbled in at first that really helped you kind of create the next level, what you have?
The crested. I mean, it was definitely the crested for me. I got into, I believe I did get into leechies next after the crested. It wasn't really a money thing. I mean, people are thinking that leechies are more of a moneymaker. They're not. They obviously can fight. They can do damage. They can hurt each other. They can kill each other even. I've never had a leechie kill another one, but I have had two pairs actually last season do major damage to each other. They recovered perfectly fine. Only the female has had scars. But they I mean, some will only lay like 4 eggs a season. So it's not like crested where you'll get anywhere from, 8 to 16 eggs in 1 year. These guys, I mean, I feel like the best season was 8 eggs. I mean, that's a pretty fair amount of leachies too.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I would think.
But yeah. Last season was probably the worst season with them. I actually only got 1 egg to hatch out of 4. So,
Okay.
and that was with 4 pairs going. So,
wow.
It's not all, sunshine and rainbows, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm in respect to that, because, at the end of the day, I feel like you're somebody who accepts, or not accepts, but you appreciate a challenge, right?
Yeah.
What are you doing each year as far as assessing what you think maybe it was, or do you not even kind of put thought into that? Are you just like, hey, it goes if it goes, and just kind of having fun, because I gotta say, there's a lot of people I get mentored by, and I ask them certain questions, and some of them are detailed questions. They say, hey man, if I have to think that much about it, I'm not having fun, so I'm curious on what you're at. Like how much thought process are you putting in after each year, no matter what the results are?
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I mean, if it doesn't go, it doesn't go. But I do think that, like with the leachies, I mean, obviously you're gonna have to split up the pairs. You can see if you can get them back together. Sometimes it's a territorial issue. Maybe the cage is too small. We had actually moved one pair into a different cage, and they actually seem to be doing better. So sometimes, it's the realization that sometimes a smaller cage isn't always good, and you just do have to go bigger just so they can have more hiding spots, even though they might be quote unquote a bonded pair.
Right.
As far as cresteds go, I think with them, like if they're laying duds, I'll just totally give them a season off. Like
Right.
sometimes it's just too much stress for them. So, we go back, we reevaluate. How old are they? How big are they? Did they lose any weight during the breeding season? Stuff like that.
I'm curious, like, because, with my monitors, obviously I know there's a time and place where I have to pull my male and whatnot, right? With you guys, with the leachies and with the geckos in general, how often are the males not with the females? Like, I mean, what's the separation period for that?
So prior years, because with leachies, I've been mentored, but it hasn't been like a whole lot.
Okay.
It was more just about asking people who've done like 1 or 2 pairs. But we have kept 1 pair together pretty much year round, and they're totally chill. They have so many spots to hide in. The female, during the off season, she doesn't lay me eggs because we actually do cool down here. We do about low 70s, and they're actually near the floor, so it gets to be just a little bit cooler.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones, we've actually switched almost every year, so we'll pull out the male at the end of the year. Because with leachies, you can put them in and cycle them, but it seems like some of the better results that people have been getting is just to leave them in, for the total year, get the fertile eggs, and then pull if need be. The crested geckos, I mean, males are in for 2 weeks. We get fertile eggs, we pull them back out, put them back in as needed. But with the crested geckos, we don't actually leave them in all year. We just 2 weeks in, that's pretty much it for them.
Right. Yeah, because obviously there's a lot any reptile goes through when they lay a clutch, right? Takes a lot out of them. So I'm sure there has to be that bounce back period, right? So yeah. I'm just wondering if there's anybody out there that kind of doesn't consider that bounce back period and just keeps breeding. If you do stuff like that, stress then comes into play and things will die at some point, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, you're just going to wear down the female. Yeah.
Right.
But we actually do 2 to 3 seasons on for the females here and 1 season off and keep cycling. And then, of course, during the winter time, which I'm gonna say our seasons are like very fluctuating because we start our pairs in December and January, depending on if it's a virgin, if it's a new coming female, or if that female stopped laying midsummer. So we'll start breeding about December, January, and we end pretty much in October. But almost all the females have pretty much a good 4 to 6 months off before we start breeding them again. So it just helps, helps with their cycle. It helps reduce their stress on their body, and they pick up a lot of weight in the wintertime.
Now, I mean, there's so many different remedies a lot of people like to choose when it comes to like getting certain animals to bounce back quick and get them to, get to that breeding point again. I mean, for you, is it the same diet throughout the whole year, no matter what the, sex is, male or female? They're on the same kind of diet, same regiment throughout the whole year?
Yeah, we don't really change much of anything. I feel like we haven't really had too many females lose a whole bunch of weight. Like I said, most of them pig out during the winter anyway. And I don't really have picky eaters here because I use kind of a combination of diets. So they really like that over just me offering one diet.
Right.
But we do offer bugs to everybody as much as we can, but everybody pretty much gets the same thing here.
Right. Now, what would you say? I don't know, man. There's so many people out there who have like, we could talk about like dieting all around, like on so many different levels of reptile keeping that just is improper. What would you say, like, what's one diet you steer away from when it comes to the stuff that you keep, like the geckos? Like what's maybe something you see other people feed their reptile or their geckos and you're like, I would stay clear away from that? Or is there even anything?
I don't know that there's really too much of anything. The ZooMed diet, I probably wouldn't use. I've never seen really any great results from feeding that.
Right.
BFG, they're changing their diet, I believe, but that was one thing that wasn't great. Like, it actually used to be, but they changed hands twice. I think now that they're redoing it again, it's supposed to be a better diet. But I mean, there's not really anything I would steer too clear of. I mean, I think it's really good for them to have a variety, just so long as you know how to do it correctly.
Yeah, I mean, that's at the end of the day, like shit. I overfed the living crap out of my collection for the first 2-3 years just because I just, I didn't know better. I just thought, okay, my ball pythons eat every week. Everything else eats every week. I also started with most of my stuff being young. So I feel like any kind of feeding that you do that's maybe not the right either amount or the right even kind of source of protein or dieting, I feel like you could get away with that a lot of that stuff in the beginning of the stages of this animal's life. But, as it gets older and whatnot, it could lead to problems. But either way, like it comes with learning. It comes from just experience. And so I just didn't know if there was something out there that you could maybe help anyone avoid as far as, not giving them the improper diet. So, what diet do you use again? What's your go-to diet as far as like the brand you use?
So I actually use Pangea, which is, one of the most popular ones in the hobby. We do actually use a little bit of Repashy, and one of my go-tos is actually Black Panther Zoological.
Who's more OG? Who's more OG? Pangea or Repashy? Who's been around longer? That's what I meant to ask.
I think Alan's been around longer. I mean, I think both Alan and Matt have, they've worked with pretty much the same crew of geckos for a long time, but I think Alan's been around longer, Repashy.
Okay. Respect.
So,
Sorry.
yeah.
I was just curious. I hear both their names, obviously I'm starting to become a little bit of a gecko geek now. I'm loving this shit. So I'm just curious. I want to get my facts straight, I don't want to be wrong, but go ahead and continue. I'm sorry. Go ahead and continue.
Very good.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we also use Black Panther Zoological. That's been around for a while. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how long Black Panther's been around. It's owned by Caden. He is not as active in the community, I know, as he once was. He's a great guy, but we get a lot from him. We buy 22 pounds at a time. Just because, wholesale orders right now anyway are backlogged just because of the stuff they put into the diets. There's a supply issue. So we buy a lot from him, the color bomb. And our geckos, I'm going to say it does take a while if you get it, or if, anybody on here wanted to try it. It can take a while for the geckos to get used to it, but it's got a higher protein content than Pangea does. So that's why we like to use more of it here, just so the geckos can get a higher protein content, especially if we don't have live food, being in Virginia. And we do a lot of shows, but not a lot of shows have crickets. So I can't always have crickets here. So the Black Panther Zoological, and actually we use ground cricket powder. We do a treat almost, like twice a month, and that helps up the protein levels.
Can we talk about something real quick, Allie?
Sure.
I feel like this could be a great topic. I hope so. We'll find out. I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I breed grasshoppers. I know it's crazy, right? But I breed grasshoppers. Okay. I'm very proud of it. Just so you know, I'm very proud about breeding grasshoppers. Took me over a year to figure out. But I had my buddy Kai on the show, my buddy Kai is the one who put me on with the grasshoppers, but we had a in-depth conversation about how little is in a cricket. You know what I mean? Like, as far as like what's in a cricket, you know what I mean? If you compare that to what's in a grasshopper, it's like you're eating fucking like USD prime fucking meat. You know what I mean? It's a different level. So first and foremost, if I could breed grasshoppers, I know Allie Ross could breed grasshoppers. Breeding crickets is fucking hard. I've heard breeding crickets is like super, super difficult. Like, you have to incubate them and all this stuff, where my grasshoppers incubate, everything is in the soil. They do it themselves. So why isn't anyone really in the gecko game, from what I know, really feeding their geckos grasshoppers? Like, is it just too much, or I'm just curious. What is it?
Actually, I had this discussion with Kenny like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, perfect.
So we were talking about it, and I think I was actually talking about it with a group of ours. One of it was USDA regulations, I believe. Nobody was sure about how like the agricultural community would react to shipping grasshoppers. Because I'm not sure on all those laws.
It's happening. It's happening. My boy ships them out all the time.
Yeah, which is what I was hearing about.
Right.
Somebody had just mentioned the agricultural department was just a little bit wary because of how much damage grasshoppers can do to crops.
Wow.
But I would totally feed grasshoppers if I could start getting them in, because actually I know people in Europe who feed. Well, at least in the UK, I don't know like all of Europe, but people in the UK feed grasshoppers with like huge success.
Allie, let me send you some grasshoppers, dude. Like, come on. Like, this could, and then you could put me on and be like, yep, MJ, you know what I mean? Like, dude, this could be great. Can we look into this maybe? Like,
yeah.
That would be sick as fuck. Because listen, I mean, my boy Kai is somebody on that level of, like, for instance, it all started with the snakes with me, obviously the ball pythons. God bless the ball pythons, but I started leveling up and getting into things that I felt like needed more of my attention. And the monitors came, like, and I'm obsessed with the monitors. Like, I mean, if money wasn't so relied on what I was doing with the ball pythons and whatnot, which I hate to say, but that's what all my money comes from the ball pythons. I can't even lie. But if that wasn't the case, I'm sorry, but I would probably get rid of half my ball pythons and just have majority monitors, or I would have fucking, well, I mean, right now, here's the thing. I don't want to talk too much, but I can tell you right now, once MJ has another room like this that I could dedicate to with the right temps, I'm coming hard into the gecko game. Oh boy, am I coming. I hope you guys are ready. Hey, am I welcome? Can I come to the, am I allowed? Will you welcome me, Allie, into the gecko game?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. If Kenny's one of your best buds, I'll welcome one of his best buds.
Damn, that's a VIP welcoming, man. But I'm just saying, like, it's it's all about like getting stuff that really kind of gets this moving, you know, like I love, you know, the challenge. Like we were talking about things that really challenge you know what I mean? But I don't know. I kind of don't know where I was steering with this, but I'm just saying what were we talking about? I kind of ramble sometimes.
Grasshoppers.
The grass. Okay. But yes, going back to what I was talking about, but you know, one of the biggest things that I know, and you know, we'll just talk about me, but even though it's everyone, a lot of other people, but the overfeeding with the snakes, you know, like, oh my God, you know, like I'm glad I figured it out and I understand less is more when it comes to that. But learning that aspect and then kind of talking about my boy Kai about the grasshoppers, how much more nutritional it is than a cricket and all this stuff. Like, man, that's the kind of stuff where, like I said, let's say it all worked out and I was able to put grasshoppers in your hands and you were able to breed them. Obviously, whatever works for you, it's going to work for the next person, right? It could just be an awesome, because I mean, aren't you all about leveling up yourself, Allie? I'm sure you are, right? Like we could all do better by what we're doing, you know, but people just need to hear it. And it's one thing I love about this podcast. I try my best to only bring the best of the best who's been learning and been evolving. I don't ever bring anyone on who backpedals. I mean, can't say nobody I brought on has backpedaled because that'd be a lie. That's for sure. But I don't look for people who are going backwards ever. You know what I mean? So, because at the end of the day, I don't care about the views. I don't care about what gets people's attention. I just care about the animals. Like I'm very passionate about what's behind me. This whole podcast started, Allie, because I wanted more information. Like I started this podcast when people did not like me. Like I was very, like, I didn't care. I cursed. People didn't know why I cussed. People thought I was smoking to be cool. And I don't care. I'm just me. I don't like, you know, I just don't care. But now I do care because I see that other people care because it's about the animals. And that's how I try to make it be. If we could all do everything better to make these better, then that's what it's all about, right? So the grasshopper it just really stood out to me. And I never really got to ask any gecko breeder that yet. You're the first one. And go figure, you and Kenny already talked about it. So, you know what I mean? Like, do you see how this shit just aligns, Allie?
Yeah.
It says the coolest reptile podcast in the world, not on purpose. It's just, what do you want me to do? If it's like everything just hits. I love it. What the fuck? But anyways, if you want to talk about evolving, one of the other things other than improper dieting, as far as one of the worst things happening in the pet trade, enclosures, right? Behind you, I would say, let's say to your right, right? What are you keeping in all those, and where are you keeping all on the left of you? I'm just curious what's next to you here.
All right, so these are the adult units. They're 12 by 12 by 18s. They're condo units, so they actually come in packs of 4.
Okay.
Gecko Junkie Tristan builds them.
Dude, I just had him on Unfiltered Reptile podcast, I think about a couple months ago. Never heard of the guy. But my buddy Dave Levison is very tapped in. And I just got to meet him. The guy is a fucking man. He has so much stuff available. Like he's into everything. It was quite an episode. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So we got these from him actually. Let's see, it's been 2.5 years now, because he was building some prototypes, I believe. Samantha with Crestopia actually ordered a bulk lot from him. She wanted to see how they were going to work, because originally we were just keeping stuff in tubs. And I, of course, don't have anything against, proper sized tubs for these guys, because sometimes it's just the easiest thing you can do. Right. But she needed something a little bit easier. So front opening is the next way to go. So she got a whole bunch, and the room looked, amazing. It's uniform. And Tristan actually does build a couple different sizes, but we went with the 12 by 12 by 18. And most of my girls love it. I actually have cages probably behind me. You might not be able to see them. They're on the bottom. I had custom built that they're 18 cube similar, but not quite, because I had him make the 12 by 12 by 18 stack on top. So he had to kind of wiggle around the measurements so they could evenly stack. And I keep some of the larger girls in them. Some of the girls that are I actually have 2 that are pretty close to 70 grams. They're like right on the edge of overweight. They're just, but hugely built. So we have them in those, and then we keep the lychees in those. One single one, not pairs. These tubs are the ones on the top. Those are actually for my Iridactylo pairs. I don't know quite what size they are, but they work perfect for the pairs.
And I'm always curious, that little meshing, it's because they need that extra ventilation, correct? Is that what it is?
Yeah, they need the airflow. So they need it humid, but they'll pretty much die without the airflow.
But what's the humidity in there with the actual airflow?
Right now it is, I believe, 50%.
Okay. And how much are you having to like damp or wet stuff like that? Like, how do you obviously I'm a big sprayer. I'm in San Diego. I can spray all day. But how are you keeping your stuff humid?
So we're actually in a basement. It keeps it, I'm going to say at a standard 40%. That's pretty much what we've been sitting at, which is a fine dry out period for these guys.
Right.
Otherwise, actually I keep a lot of the stuff on cocoa husk, like with the ball pythons.
Yeah.
And I only mist twice a week. But I do keep a water dish in with most of them, not the babies, because there's not quite enough airflow in these right now. So it'll just stay damper. They'll still get their dry out, but I just don't have to spray as much. And that's the other thing. Like, some people are like, enclosure's too wet. Just don't spray as much. You can always offer the fresh water dish and they'll drink out of it.
Right.
But I have a fan going in here. I'll probably install another one just to help the movement because the room's so much bigger now.
Right.
But these are 6-quart baby tubs. So same thing people use for ball pythons. These are actually built by sea serpents.
Oh, damn. Shout out to Chris. Sea serpents.
Yeah.
Solid. That guy's legendary, I will say. Okay, I have to ask you because I've been getting help, obviously with whatever my needs are with good old Hank Hill Country, my new Ami Gecko. But I was also told, I've had this thing since it was a little tiny guy, right? And he's been growing with me, but I also know that you don't want to put it in something too big because they stress out. Is that true?
Yeah, I think specifically with lychees, like they always say bigger is better, but I think for any gecko, bigger is not always better. They definitely can stress out, but they also, it's not that they can't find the food, but they're just using so much of their energy up that they can't, hold on to the fat storage. So with lychees, like I'll start them off in like a little 6-quart tub up until, I don't know, maybe like 10, 15 grams. And then I'll put them in a 28-quart tub. And they do pretty well in there, and they pretty much just grow to that. And I think we do almost 50 grams in that. Okay. And then from there, we'll put them in the 18 cubes, and they seem to just grow really great.
I have this really bitchin' PVC REDLINE science enclosure. It's 18. It's like perfect size, but he's just not ready yet. I have to weigh him. I never weighed him. I guess I'll weigh him. 50 grams is your guys is like 101, like in your book, that's okay at 50 grams.
Yeah, 50 to 70, I think. I mean, of course, you keep an eye on them, but I think lychees are such pigs that by the time they get to that like yearling stage,
right,
they don't care as much. So,
you ready for another beefy topic?
Sure.
Before we kind of do that, I do want to say, again, shout out to the sponsor of tonight's episode, Focus Cube Habitats. Future of enclosures is here. Please head over to focuscubehabitats.com. Check them out. Follow them on Instagram. Yes. Shout out to Ashley and Steven. But going back to what I was saying, now, I want to say that I feel like a lot of people tend to kind of get ahead of themselves, especially nowadays, right? Because we're kind of in a position with this hobby where things are growing. The shouts all the podcasts is out there, shouts all the YouTube influencers, all the people like yourself who are building a good name for yourself behind your breeding line. But I could tell you right now, there have been some cases in the ball python game where people come in this money hungry, money heavy, kind of make a fool out of themselves. Do you even see that happening with the gecko community? Like, I mean, do you see anybody from what you've like noticed coming into this really heavy and excited, and then maybe a year later you don't hear from them again? Is that common thing too, or no?
Oh yeah, it's definitely super common. I mean, I think 2019, I feel like we saw a ton of that, like a ton.
I agree.
And then, 2020 hit and 2021 with COVID, we did have a lot more new breeders come in. And I feel like the turnaround rate has actually slowed down a little bit recently. We still have, some people just not able to do it. And sometimes it's just because they have to go back to work. Yeah. They can't be stay at home, work from home anymore. But we definitely saw a lot of it. And I think it's always going to be a thing. I mean, you see money, but you're not going to see a payout. I mean, you can see a payout, but it's going to take you, like 2-3 years, you got to get your name out there. Sometimes it can take 2-3 years just to get your name out. Some people just don't want to put the work into it. They don't want to drive to shows. If you do shows, they don't want to have to ship. I do a little bit of both. I feel like if you don't do shows, you definitely got to push your online presence, because I can tell you, I've been doing shows probably for 4.5 years now.
Okay.
I have so many repeat customers at shows. But I'd say 50-50. I do both online sales and shows, and I feel like I don't know what I would do without the shows.
Right. Yeah, I mean, people make me laugh, man. And the only reason why is because a lot of people are kind of happy with their just online presence, and that's beautiful. I'm glad that you're known online, but I could tell you, I think they fear to just go to a show and not be known. You know what I mean? And that's fine. That's like your own ego, right? But I could tell you right now, man, people always ask me, how the fuck do you get so plugged up, MJ? MJ, how do you know such and such? How do you know how? Dude, I went to shows, motherfucker. That's what I did. You have to, like, and mind you, I did build good relationships off social media. Like I did introduce myself to a lot of these people, social media, but I made it a fucking fact that I went to go meet them, because that's what connects the whole, like, that's what brings the, virtual or the social media reality to real reality, is when you actually meet these people face to face, because that's when a real bond happens. Like, that's when, like, you get to know each other more. And goddamn, the best friends that I mean, listen, I hate that fucking, some people abuse the term best friends, but I have a lot of best friends. I'm just saying, I have so many besties. It's ridiculous. And I don't give a fuck what anyone has to say about me just saying the word bestie. Fight me. I don't give a fuck. But I feel like I have the best people in my circle, and I just love it, but it's all because I fucking went out there. Like, even before I did this for the full time, when I was working at Office Depot, hating my life as a general manager, not knowing what I was going to do, I still fucking flew out to Tinley. I still flew out to shit to get my ass tapped in with the people. And that's what everything just started happening. Like, literally, I remember telling myself, man, my first Tinley, guess what happened my first Tinley? You ready for this, Allie? Allie, guess what happened my first Tinley?
What happened?
COVID. That's what happened.
Oh, shit.
Okay. I finally, and mind you, my wife met me when I was kind of like, at first I finessed her. Like, I made it seem like my life was well put together, but no, it wasn't. As soon as we became boyfriend, girlfriend, she found out that I sold drugs. I was a partier. I had problems, all this sorts of shit, but I was trying to get my life straight. Like, I was literally, like, I wanted the right life. So she knew I wanted that. So she believed in me. And sure enough, like, when I got with her on that level, she gave me an ultimatum, and she's like, you pick whatever life you want, but you ain't going to do both. And so I chose the life my wife laid out for me. Love my wife to death. But I can tell you right now, man, like, first year I was into this, I was telling her, like, that's the very first year after meeting my biggest mentors in the game, like Miguel Garcia. Like, I saw him going to NARBCs and Tinleys. And I remember my first year, I'm telling my wife, because I remember he would invite me. My boy would invite me, like, hey, dude, let's go. I'm going to take you to Tinley. And I was still kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? I was still partying and not being what I was supposed to be. So I would even mention to my wife, she's like, and she was my girlfriend at the time. She's like, no, you're not going to Chicago. You're a mess. Like, you're very untrustworthy right now. And so I couldn't go, so it took me 2 years after that for my wife to see what I've been doing. She saw all my progress. And now she's like, I go once a month. I take off every once a month now, but goddamn, like, everything changed when I started going to shows. Like, and listen, I got to tell you one thing. You guys want to, I mean, this isn't really for you, Allie, but anyone listening out there wondering how, like, what is it out there that experience or people that you look up to? What is it that they look up to? What do they like? They love passion. I can tell you right now, every guy out there who's been doing this for a long time that shows me the time of day, that loves me, loves my passion. And the passion shows when you go to these shows, when you actually show up, you talk to these people, that passion shows, man. People read it and it spreads. That passion brings energy. A lot of these people don't have passion around them anymore, you know, especially like think about a guy who's been in the game for years. Okay. A lot of their friends aren't doing like they're like, you understand the Marshall Mendez's, the Gary Shavinos. I'm saying a lot of chondro guys. I'm sorry. You probably have no idea who these guys are, but these are people who've been doing things since the 80s, since the 90s. Like they're like the last of the Mohicans in their fucking era. You know what I mean? So, and I'm just like, I'm the new breed. I'm coming in with all this energy. So they love it. Like they love my energy. So if you are passionate about this, if you're trying to figure out how to get the fuck out of your 9 to 5 and get connected, you need to go to shows. That's all I'm trying to get at here. You have to go to shows.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
I went on.
It's okay. No, I definitely agree. My first Tinley was, I think 2019. I went with Emily Burke Artwork and Christy with Christy's Reptile Room. Love them both to death. They're actually pretty local to me, local-ish. They're in Baltimore. I'm like 2 hours away. I went with them and I had a complete blast. I mean, I met all the breeders that I wanted to meet that I had already talked to. And I mean, I just getting out there and meeting people. I mean, I know it's kind of, you know, it's a scary thing. It is. It's really overwhelming, especially Tinley. I mean, and Tinley has grown by multitudes even since then.
Listen, I here's the thing. I forget, like, I was going to these shows, like, knowing some of the bigger names. Like, I was already friends with, so I felt like I was like I already know the cool people. But trust me, I did feel out of place. I did feel kind of like even somebody who was as much as confidence as I had, there were situations at the first few shows where I was like, I felt like the geek. I felt like the fucking like, you know, I don't have much to talk about. I have, you know, like I'm not at these guys' levels, but you can't really think of it like that. Like, you know, like everyone started somewhere, you know what I mean? And, you know, listen, if you believe in your craft, if you believe in what you have, you know, if you believe in what you have growing, then it's just a matter of time. You got to keep yourself busy. That's the thing. A lot of people, you know, what's funny, and it is pretty funny. I'm not gonna laugh, but you have people, woo, it's just funny. But you have people who come into whatever game, like let's just say the ball pythons, because this is really what I'm talking about, the ball python game. But you have people who come drop a couple 100,000 in the ball python game, and they expect everyone to bow down to them. Like they think like, hey, like, you know, like confused why they don't have a bigger following just because you spent money on snakes. Like that's like, dude, that don't matter. That I don't care how much money you spend on snakes. It don't matter what you like. What are you doing with those snakes is what matters. You know what I mean? But that also comes with time. Like that's why anyone out there, it's so easy to see the people who either have a fake following out there, like the one with 20,000 followers and they have 50 likes on the average. That's not real. Okay. Also, there are people who are just dying to hit a certain number of following. Like that must, like, I don't know. There has to be a different goal in what you're doing, because at the end of the day, everything comes with time. Like, I don't know, Allie, it doesn't seem like you stress much, or do you stress much as far as how many followers you have? How does that really come to play as far as what you got going on with your breeding? I'm curious.
I don't really stress that much. I feel like I've been such a small breeder for years now. I mean, I think Samantha, Gabby with the Morph Menagerie, Kenny, and you know, some more of my friends like Melissa with Sublime Reptiles. They really kind of like brought me out of my shell to say, you know, my stuff was worth it, because maybe I wasn't really seeing it. I mean, like, I definitely didn't see it my first year. I saw it my second year. But my third year, you know, I think my third year I really stressed. I felt like I was falling behind. Like my stuff wasn't good enough. Right. You know, just thoughts like that, I mean, I'm sure everybody has at some point in time, especially just starting out, you know, like I said, you can't really follow the trends. You just have to love it. And so, you know, I've had tricolors almost since the start. But in the past 2 to 3 years, I've started seeing, you know, all my efforts pay off, you know.
Right.
I'm breeding my own productions finally. Because I will say, you know, a little bit of advice, when you first start breeding, don't sell everything that you got. You know, you gotta hold back something. And I think the only one I held back was in year 2. That was one female, and she's been breeding for me for three years now. And I mean, she produces some of the most killer stuff. But you definitely just got to believe in it, you know? Right.
Amen. Shit. And that's the thing, like, you know, here's another thing. Like, there's people out there that I've seen, because obviously I'm in a goddamn industry where I'm looking for talent, you know what I mean? And so there's times where I come across people who, like, holy shit, you have this going on, and they're just like living life, you know what I mean? And like, what's crazy is, like, one thing I love is, like, my excitement brings like an awareness to them. Like, they're like, oh my God, like, really? Like, this is what's going on. I'm like, yeah, like, what do you mean? Like, let's talk about it. And then we talk about it, and then, like, next thing you know, they start a YouTube channel. It's like, it's fucking awesome. But, like, I don't know, like, man, I feel like go ahead, please.
I think, you know, you're on the right track too, because, like, I think it's good to have those friends. Like,
yeah,
you give me almost like the same kind of vibes as Kenny does. He's so upbeat, you know, like, he's like, dude, man, you know.
I found a video. Go ahead. No, continue.
Well, like, you know, some of the stuff he looks at, he's like, dude, he's like, don't let anybody, you know, come at you. He's like, you gotta stand your ground with all that shit. You know, don't let anybody tear you down with it, man. He's
dude,
like, it's the best shit.
You don't understand, like, the levels. Like, I know we're just becoming friends right now, Allie, and am I wrong, or do I feel like we're becoming friends right now? I feel like we are. Are we? Can we disagree on that or no?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I was like, oh my God, I thought she was gonna say no.
No, I hate you.
But, like, listen, I don't even know where I was going with that. God dang it! What were we just talking about?
With Kenny, your attitudes.
I don't know. Dang it! I was really that was leading to something really good, and my mind just blanked right now. But anyways, I'm glad we're friends. That's awesome. And dude, Kenny, I will tell you right now. Oh, I remember. Woo! Got it. Listen, I know we're becoming friends right now, but there's a history behind this podcast, and a lot of my diehard people out there, you know who you are. They know the kind of shit that I've been in. Okay, I've been in some shit where I guess come at certain, like, titans in the fucking industry, right? That just ruffle people's feathers. I guess one of these. I don't want to say individuals, but the company Nerd. You know, heard of Nerd, right?
Yeah.
I've come at them before, you know. I've had good reason to come at them, you know, and I've always left respect on Kevin McCurley's name because I love you know, as far as what Kevin's done and his influence. But at the end of the day, he's not a perfect individual either. But there was just a time and place when I just wasn't happy with how Nerd was being represented. It pissed me off, and there was certain things where I felt like I feel like everyone's against me right now, and I'm like, holy shit, you know. And I remember saying one thing on certain podcasts, and I let it off, like, I let it loose, and I felt like, oh, the next day I didn't feel good. I could tell you that much. But I spoke to Kenny, and or it wasn't even, no, we text. I text Kenny. I'm like, Kenny, dude, check out yesterday's podcast. I said some shit about Nerd. I think I'm fucked, or I said something like that, and I saved this audio message. I have it, and I'm gonna send it to you. I won't play this on the live, but oh my God, this audio message is what gave this podcast every ounce of confidence. You know, MJ will handle anything I have to handle now. I don't give a fuck. If I need to address it, it's getting addressed. But this voice message that this man sent me, it gave me chills. Like, the chills went all the way up through my ear, and I was like, bro, I was so excited because, listen, at the end of the day, like, I am building some sort of following where people understand that I'm only as real as fucking Swiss cheese. You feel me? Like, I'm only saying it how it is. You could either take it or you could leave it, but I throw no fraudulent flags. Everything I say, I have credibility for. You know what I mean? It's just, it's just hard when you cross that line with certain people. But the way Kenny spoke to me, the way Kenny gave me that fucking influence of motivation, because if it's anyone who knows me better than anyone in this game, it's Kenny. Kenny was one of my very first homies. He gave me my first retic. He groomed me, Kenny, this guy. So that guy right there, I have everything to give to Kenny. And you need to understand, like, listen to how I'm talking about Kenny. This is why meeting you, when like Kenny, there's not too many shit. Let's be honest. I think, was it AJ? There was maybe one other gecko breeder that he spent 20 minutes on the phone with me telling me about. Okay. You're the only other one other than that breeder. And I'm talking about a good 23 minutes. Okay. Like, in the first 2 minutes, I said, yeah, no problem. But he just went on, you know what I mean? And I love hearing when Kenny's pumped up about something, because I know that's going to lead to something, you know what I mean? So listen, I try to book every guest on this show, no matter what the segment, on something I'm excited for. So by Kenny doing this for me, it made this shit so easy. This is why I'm so pumped up. And obviously it's one of the best fucking gecko episodes I've had so far. This is awesome. I'm loving it. Hope you're having a good time.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's get back to order here. Sales. Listen, I one thing that kind of got me so excited about doing this segment was the Las Vegas Reptile Super Show. Shout out to anyone who's going to Pomona, man, next month. Reptile Super Show, man, you need to come out to the West Coast, Allie. You really do. That'd be great.
I'm coming to Sacramento in April if you're going to be there.
Sacramento is, what a nice place. No, it's not. Sacramento's is not. Dude, that's scary. That's a scary place. Why are you going to Sacramento? Like, what's happening? Can you tell me?
My mom. Okay, so my mom actually lives in California. She used to live in Sacramento. She moved to Carmichael, and then now she lives in Cool. So I figured, since I don't see her that often, I see her maybe once a year, I was like, hey, why don't I try and arrange to go to the Reptile Show and go see my mom while I'm out there. Unfortunately, it's not Pomona, but yes, so I will be coming to Sacramento.
Really? Your mom had to be the one to live in Sacramento. Now I look like an asshole. Mom, I'm kidding. Sacramento's beautiful. I was being a snob. I'm from San Diego. San Diego's the most beautiful city in the world. I'm sorry. I don't care what anyone else to say. I will, if you come fly over here, and if if you're a Patreon member, or if you're like, well, you would be a celebrity guest appearance, obviously. So we would have, an amazing time here. It would be I have these wristbands, these VIP Taco Tour wristbands. This takes you to my 7 most awesomest spots. That's right. We're going to go to 7 taco places and eat.
Shit.
It's nuts. I'm just kidding.
Dude, I'd be down for that.
No, but anyways, I got to say, like, the Pomona, the Las Vegas, and God dang it, the Las Vegas Reptile Super Show. Shout out to Rami, shout out to the sponsor. But man, that was, I met the good homie William and his wife. Oh my God, what's their name? Oh my God. Hyped Up. Is it Hyped Up Reptiles? I think it's Hyped Up. I'm so sorry. But anyways, I met them, and he brought me to Altitude Exotics' table when everything was just like, dude, it was nuts. It was crazy. It was a fucking like frenzy that was going on before even the doors open, and crazy sales were going on. You mentioned that you do shows. Have you ever had shows where you had crazy sales? Anything similar to that? I'm curious.
So the East Coast shows I attend are probably not nearly as big as any of the smaller West Coast shows. But I will say we had a very successful Baltimore Repticon show a couple months back. I think it was in the summertime. Actually, a couple of my friends stopped by. They came to the table. They were just picking up animals, and they always swing by to see if I have anything else. And when they came over, everybody came over. It was just like this huge crowd, and I think we sold, it's probably not going to sound like a lot, but I think we sold like 25 animals that day, which, considering I only take about 50 to 60 per show, we sold almost over half. So,
I mean, that's a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, let me ask you that: how common are those days?
Probably not too common. Not for a lot of our smaller shows. I'd say average is 5 to 10 per show. We can obviously do more, and we've done shows where we've sold nothing before,
Right.
which were horrible, but that's okay. You know, sometimes it's not always about selling the Gecko. It's about coming out, advertising yourself, handing out business cards. I mean, I had people,
go ahead.
You know, come down from New York actually to one of the Pennsylvania shows, and I mean, I didn't do great, but there I was handing out cards, and I think like the next week I had 2 people hit me up for some stuff. So
right. Yeah, I mean, I think the money is like, hey, shit. Like I said, it happens if it happens. If it's meant to happen, nothing is guaranteed either. Like, here's the thing: like, there's so many people who think they're owed something because they've either worked with it for so long, or like, hey, it was this price. No, man. At the end of the day, it's all luck. Like, think about things. I don't know if this is like this in the Gecko world, because how, I guess, brand new it is compared to the ball python world, right? Because in the ball python game, a gene that's $50 could be a gene that just came out on Justin Kabelka's YouTube channel. And he's like, hey, this is the recipe right here, motherfuckers. If you got this, this is where it's at. Now it's like everyone's selling that gene for $400 or $500. You know what I mean? It can happen.
yeah,
It can happen just like that. And that's I love that. I love that. Fuck it. That's beautiful. Like, holy shit, you know? But it happens when it happens. Like, you don't know. This is why you got to stay true to your shit. Just find what it is that you like. Find the ones that, no matter what it is that it's trending, which if it trends, it trends. But if you love it, stick to it. You just got to stick to it.
yep.
You know, thank you so much. Oh, God damn it. Because I love this couple. I literally just brain farted. But yes, William and Audra from Flawless. I don't know why I said hyped up. That was so weird. But I meant Flawless, Crested, Geckos. Shout out to them. They are awesome. I love them. But anyways, thank you for correcting me on that. But listen, like this podcast happening, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie, Allie. I didn't know if we were gonna get along or not. I don't like we didn't talk a lot. Like we met each other. We met each other through a mutual friend, which I've done that before. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't always work out. You know what I mean? But if it happens, it happens. And I gotta say, I went into this episode super open-minded. Couldn't wait to hear what you had to say, and this has happened to be one of the best Gecko podcasts so that I've had so far. Not saying ever,
Awesome.
Maybe ever. I don't want to step on any toes out there, but listen. Okay, let's talk about that. How do you feel about because I don't know if it's always been the case, but it seems like a lot of Gecko podcasts are starting to rise now in the Gecko community. How do you feel about that?
I think it's good. I mean, I think podcasts are kind of like the next thing, and I think it's really good for the community. I think it's good, you know, overall, actually. It gets more people who weren't even involved in reptiles to start listening and start, you know, gaining information about reptiles they never knew anything about. I mean, I know of the Gecko pod. I mean, you're talking about geckos. I personally don't watch a whole lot of podcasts. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I've seen like, other than what I had going on, I got put onto the Gecko pod, and then I saw the Gecko pod because I went to go hit up AJ. Is AJ Davison?
Yes.
Okay, shout out to AJ. That fool's very, very player. Like that guy a lot. But Brian Susan. Brian Susan's
yes.
I love Brian. That guy is the man.
Yes.
But anyway, so Brian was like, "Hey MJ, you gotta check out my boy AJ. He already has a podcast started, and he's not like he would be a good show." And I was like, "All right, for sure." And so, but after mind you, I'm starting to follow a lot of you guys now. So I'm just like seeing what else is out there. And ever since I started following AJ, I'm definitely seeing, because the one thing I love that they have going on is that they're hopping on other podcasts and supporting them. And they're like, you see a lot of collaboration going on. Okay, that's not the case listen, I collaborate with my boy Chris Eaton. Like I definitely been the one to collaborate with somebody because I know that helps. Like I'm always trying to help people and then help me, and like we all grow. But it's also not really like everyone else does their own thing in the snake podcast game, right? But I definitely see things that are picking up in the Gecko community, and I mean that's it's evolving. Like, here's the thing, like the ball python game should be a good example for almost any species community out there on where things can go. You don't know, like, even like, you want to talk about one community who are so snobby that they're like, okay, like fuck morphs, we don't believe in morphs and all sorts of shit. We don't know if these things could really pack a morph someday. Like, you never fucking really know. It could really change everything. Like, who would ever thought the Gecko game would pick up at the level that the ball python game's picking up? Like, hello, like we just got done talking about someone making $400,000 at a show. That's big money right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you just don't know, man. Like, you just don't know.
Yeah, we got a couple coming out. The Xanthics have been around for a while.
Right.
The Lily Whites, those were actually pretty much our main two for the longest time. Now we have, the Cappuccinos, which apparently caps have been, they've been around for 10 years and nobody's known about them. Which is kind of funny that crested, people do pair like things in crested geckos. So it's always been a little funny. And I think a lot of people talk about this, that nobody kind of just stumbled upon this before, whatever it was, 3-4 years ago with Don and everything.
Now, from what you understand, like, you kind of give credit to that kind of laid the path for more of the gecko projects to be fulfilled. And we could kind of talk about the cresteds right now, because the lily white Xanthics, that's all revolutionary type shit, right?
Right.
And who was kind of the first, like, from what I understand, was it Brian? Was he the first founder of that shit as far as in the United States, or was it somebody else? Like, I don't know if I'm wrong on that.
So the Brian actually got that whole group from somebody in Europe. Okay. I won't go into the whole backstory because I'm not hugely familiar with it. I just know he did get them from Europe. But as far as in the US, he was, I believe, one of the first to have the Xanthics. And then Catherine with Manatee Suncoast Lizards was the second, as far as I'm aware. And then there's Obscural Xanthics as well.
Okay. Other than the lily white Xanthic, okay, first off, how do you feel about Dalmatians? Don't hurt. Who cares about Kenny's feelings right now? How do you feel about the Dalmatians? What's going on with that in your head? I'm curious.
I actually hated Dalmatians for the longest time.
Oh my God, they're so sick. Why? I'm curious. Like, who else? Oh, the homie, who's Gecko? Who's Geckos? He doesn't like them either.
So, I hated them for the longest time. I hated geckos with the Harlequins with Dow spots. I hated those. I hated just regular patternless with Dow spots, but I started seeing Samantha's collection because she was hugely known for Dows and super Dows. And then of course Kenny comes along and influences me. But I think the Dows are a little bit crazy. I'm still not like a huge fan of red Dows. I do love Kenny's Spatterline, of course. His are more of like this weird orange red hue.
Right.
Instead of the dark colors, but my personal favorite are the yellows and what I like to call the chocolate Dows. So that's what I mainly work with here. I do have a couple of reds, but slowly phasing those out, other than Spatterline. And actually we kind of have like an old stock Rapache line here that's really uncommon. And I think like part of the people who love Dows, they all kind of come from the same place, which is Mardi Gras. And then Mardi Gras pretty much handed his collection over to Brian. And the separate line is also AC. So you have Altitude, AC, and Mardi Gras. And that's really, really common in the trade, other than the Damn Daniel lines, which comes from Lily Exotics.
Okay. Remember, we're friends, right?
Yeah.
Can you just follow me back so you don't embarrass me right now? I appreciate it. Thank you. Just kidding. Guys, please do me a favor. Head over to Instagram. If you're not already, make sure you go follow Hidden Valley Geckos. We're going to tap into her page right now because I do kind of want... Listen, Allie, I'm really happy. I'm really happy this episode's going as good as it is because I would hate to fucking... Like, let's say it didn't, and I would like, dude, I would have to like you no matter what because you fucking post dessert pictures. Like, I'm a cookie dude. I love cookies. First and foremost, I'm a chocolate chip connoisseur. Okay. If you ever need there's a patent, like there's like, okay, this was approved by what's the Michelin, the 3-star Michelin, so like the restaurant type shit. I could give you that kind of stamp of approval where you would be like welcomed into the Smithsonian if you needed to. Okay. Because how much I love chocolate chip cookies. But listen, this is so cool. It has to be definitely different because there's so many people who are picky about like, oh, I won't even post a selfie on my Instagram. It's just my animals. It has to be just my animals. But I got to admit, you have something that I feel like is a double passion going on your page. So before we talk about what geckos is on your page, what's up with the dessert pics? Like, what's up with this? This is awesome. Like, what's going on with this?
So you'll find more than just dessert photos on there.
There's food.
Yeah, there's food in general.
Right.
I was a cook chef for 8-ish years. Didn't go to school for it. I actually learned everything I learned from the chefs who I worked with. And like I said, I worked at Disney as a chef. But I have, you reptile people, they're foodies. I know you guys are foodies. I know you guys don't just want to see reptiles all the time. So what's funny is...
Oh my God. Dude, that is cooked to perfection. You see the doughy? You see how basically half of it's cooked, half of it's not? That's how it should be. Because you want to know why? You just need half of it cooked so it doesn't fully melt into the glass of milk. If you have a little bit of grip, okay, it's dude.
Those were some banging cookies too. Banging.
Listen, if I send you these grasshoppers, I want a batch. I need a batch. I will send you a whole batch of cookies. That's fair trade. I agree it. I remember you saying that you were in the chef game. I mean, listen, can we kind of talk about what you did for Disney? Was it Disney World or what were you working at?
Yeah, I worked at Disney World. So I actually worked in a lot of the parks, but so what they do is they give you a main park to work at, which mine was Typhoon Lagoon, the water park. Okay. So that's not a whole lot, hard stuff. It's just sandwiches and barbecue and stuff like that. But I did do functions in Epcot, Magic Kingdom. I'm trying to think if I did anything anywhere else. I worked at the Colombian Harbor House there in Magic Kingdom for what they tell you is a vacation home pretty much for 2 months while they're deep cleaning the lagoon. But because the 2 water parks do close down for like 2 or 3 months at a time just so they can get everything ready for the new season. So they send instead of laying off employees, they just send them to other parks. So I worked there for a while. I mean, Epcot, I actually liked Epcot a lot. There was so much variety there that you could pretty much go to any location that you wanted to, because you can actually pick up shifts that you wanted to. And I would just go and work events and functions for them. So that was just for I worked there, literally for 1 year and 1 month. And then I moved back up here. And I worked a little place called the Minsland Inn. Some people have probably heard of it. It used to be a really popular thing in Luray, the Luray Caverns. I worked there for the majority of my 8 years as a cook, and I learned everything there, and pretty much just keep on cooking. I like cooking. I honestly like cooking for other people. I hate cooking for myself, but
I listen, I love, like, okay, one thing about my grandpa, man. Shout out to my grandpa, 93 years old, man. Fuck, still alive, still kicking. But he literally has a kitchen in his backyard. Like my grandpa was best fucking cook I've ever met in my entire life. Are you kidding me? Like just the best Mexican food. I come from such a strong background of the best Mexican food ever be put on this planet. And I know because how many people have, how many of my closest best friends I've taken to my grandpa's backyard, and I don't, they're all over the country. I've had friends that come over and had food in my grandpa's backyard. Mind you, he doesn't do that no more. He's 93, living his best days right now. But I gotta say, like, food is everything to me. Like and when it comes to cooking, now I know, like, food is like, that's how I got my wife. Like, listen, I don't even fuck what anyone says. I'm not a bad looking guy. I have friends out there who see my wife and they go, how did you do this? And I go, listen, motherfucker, I'm a lot better looking than you. Okay. And I can easily say that, but I got to say though, how I really got my wife, how I fucking hooked that one was, yeah, I did convince her to come over, and yeah, things happened, but I cooked for her. I started cooking for her. I found out she likes steak. I like steak. I could cook the fuck out of a steak. You know what I mean? And I can tell you right now, man, if any guy wants to know, like, let's say if you are ugly, okay, God bless you. But let's say if you're ugly, you don't really have the advantages, cooking's your advantage, okay? Because really good food is a way and key to a woman's heart. Mind you, not a vegan woman, a fucking woman who likes to eat. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's women who actually like to eat. And if you find one of those women, and God bless you, you're ugly, if you could fucking get down behind the kitchen, bro, you're good. You know what I mean? I'm telling you right now, that will take you far in life. And there, you could take that for how it is. God bless you. Not everyone's blessed, Allie. Like, let's be real. It's just like, you got to find ways. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, confidence is one thing, but you got to be good at something to be confident. Am I right? Like,
yeah.
Like, there's nobody out there who just has confidence and not good at anything. They have confidence because they either know they could talk to people, they either know they are like likable, they know they could breed shit, whatever. They just know that they're good at something. So go be good at something. Like, cooking's like, anyone could be a good cook. I can tell you that right now. If you just really put the time and effort into it, and you know what seasonings are. And I gotta say right now, the people. Think about the people who work at Starbucks who have the most craziest drinks. Like they know. I've met people because I used to work at the mall. I worked for Verizon for 11 years. So my very first jobs at Verizon was working in the malls. I was that cell phone guy in the mall back in the day. I would sell your mom and dad phones. Yeah, me. I would maximize. I was a killer. Like, listen, I had people who would literally avoid walking by my kiosk because they know I was going to try to get them in, and I would get them in. Trust me, I was that good. You know what I mean? But what was I going with that? What were we just talking right now? I'm so sorry. I fucked up again.
Just being good at something, as far as I know.
Right. But I mean, yeah, I think that's where I was getting at. But either way, just be good at something. But I don't know. Like, I can tell you right now, man, cooking, I don't know. Maybe it's because at the end of the day, my grandpa laid out the best food that made me always want the best food. And so there was time and a place. I moved to Washington, okay? You want to know, the girlfriend I had in Washington, she was like, hey, my mom wants to invite you over for Taco Tuesday. It's a Mexican night. We're going to have Mexican food. I'm like, oh, we're having Mexican food? I'm a Mexican. I was like, I'll come over. Let's do it. I walk in, and you want to know what's on the table?
No. What?
Taco Bell. And I was like, what the fuck? And they're like, do you want a quesadilla? Well, back then I went by Michael because that's my name, Michael. Michael, do you want a quesadilla? I'm like, and then they didn't even have beans from Taco Bell. They had beans straight out of a can. Like, oh my God. I almost was so turned off. I almost broke up with that girl, but actually it turned out to be a long relationship, but still, like, I was like, what the fuck? And so I always had to figure out how I got to eat the way I wanted to eat. And like, listen, if you have any, like, you get crafty with it, right? Like, there's a time and place where you're like, listen, this is what I have to work with. I could whip this up. And then you make something so fucking spectacular. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I don't know. Am I wrong or right? Like, can a guy easily win a girl over if you know how to cook for him?
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
I think it's definitely about finding, right? So, like,
right,
if you got nothing, you got to work with that, and you can do something with it. Like, being a cook, like, I made leftover meals for myself, for the employees, whatever. I work with what I got. I made some bomb ass shit. I mean, you know, we were making everything. I would just throw shit in there. Throw shit in there that's good. I mean, there's so many there's Pinterest now. I mean, like, there's so many apps you can just look into and find something good and make it.
There's definitely a lot more than just being a breeder. I think everyone needs to realize that too, okay? Like, God bless all the successful breeders out there, but if that's all you're good at, you're fucking like this dude, you're riding your snakes and animal coattails. Like, they're doing all the work. You realize that, right? And so, you know, like, you know, man, just find another craft. That's why, like, and maybe if it's just not, like, if it's just reptiles, that's fine, but I can't stand anyone who just works with one thing. Like, dude, come on. If you're really in this, why don't you challenge your abilities? Why don't you do more than just the one thing? It might, you know, a lot of the reasons why people don't, because they're scared to. Like, they have a systematic thing for so many years that makes them so much, and they're good. They don't want to change up. But, like, I don't know. I'm just going back to challenges. Me personally, and this is all personalities, I guess, but man, life's all about just, I don't know, like, fuck, like, just go make it difficult. Like, I don't really search for comfort unless it's going to sleep. Unless I go to bed, yes, I want to be comfortable, you know? But other than that, like, you know, I even look for people that I feel like won't come on this podcast. And those are people that I feel like I want to talk to, but I look for people like that. I even challenge myself that way. You know what I mean? But just wish people would challenge themselves more.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree.
And I don't mean that challenging by like adding more snakes to your collection or anything like that. You know, I think that needs to be more thought out, you know, because I could tell you what, like, I used to think like, wow, this guy is producing 300 clutches a year. Like, he's fucking sick. Now I'm like, really? 300 clutches? What are you really producing? Like, are you wholesaling? Like, are we dumping this shit somewhere? Like, I feel like there has to be a purpose behind projects now. I don't think we're in a place because where US ARC is having a battle and shit that's literally hitting us. Like, you know, there's a big fucking dose of reality that's probably going to hit us soon. You know what I mean? If it's not already hit us. But like, why would you want to be producing 300 clutches if that's to happen? Like, imagine that overhead that you have to work with.
Yeah.
People need to be smarter out there, you know?
Yep.
Do you ever have to talk to people in your own circle? Like, maybe, like, I mean, how many people out there that are just coming into this game, Allie, that you're kind of mentoring? I mean, is it a lot or no?
Right now, no. I think there's maybe like two or three people. There's been new people to come into the hobby, but I think some of the new people coming in, they're just a little bit hot-headed, you know, coming in,
Right.
trying to be right when they're not right.
Right.
It used to be, though, even, I mean, you know, we learn from teaching people. So even, you know, 2-3 years ago when I was teaching people about what I was doing, because they had just come in, you know, they wanted to know what I was doing.
Right.
And some people just wouldn't talk to them, and I would. I would probably have, you know, I don't know, a person a month messaging me, asking me about stuff. Just even just little things, you know, about pairings, about, I mean, we have groups now. You know, it's a little bit cliquey, but we do have groups now that we invite some of the newer breeders into. Groups we've even made available on Facebook to post their gecko pairings, you know, and I think that really helps out a lot of us to show us what's good, what's not, what's going to work pattern wise, because there's some thought that goes into pairing crested geckos. I mean, it's not always just pairing like things with like things to get, you know, B. So,
well, let's talk about things that I'm really vibing. I'm man, obviously it shows you how much I love food, because the whole initial part of me pulling up your Instagram was to talk about your animals. But anyways, thank you for that food segment. But listen, let's get back to the animals here. Dude, so my gecko does not look this chill or pleasant when I'm holding it. Like this gecko looks like it's like, hey, you know, like, for sure, hold me. What a time. But dude, this is a beautiful, is this a Dalmatian? It looks spotted. Yeah. Oh,
super
shit.
Dal.
You know,
yep.
Okay, listen. I love you, Kenny, but a lot of his Dalmatians are red, like they're really crazy red and white. Like, does he have yellow stuff? Like, this is sick as fuck. I'm feeling the yellow spotted shit right now.
I think he has one or two. I know he has canary yellow. She is, I don't believe she's super spotted, but she is really, really pretty. Like she has this super, really pretty base color. A lot of the yellows you see, so this is birdshot. A lot of the yellows they'll start to develop this tiger pattern underneath, which kind of makes their yellow start to get muddy. But birdshot's like this orange. She does have, a little bit of the tiger pattern, but she has been my baby since Tinley. I think it was 2019 I picked her up.
From who?
Pangea, Matt, but actually the pairing was by Brianna, which I think she was Lots of Spots. Right. She had Damn Daniel and Ceasefire, and that's when Pangea bought them. And they had their kids on the table, and she was one of them. And honest to God, Dalmatians weren't even selling as well back then. But she sat on the table literally the whole show, and I was like, I gotta get her. And Samantha was like, you have to get her. So I bought her, and sometimes it's just about handling. Like I said, personality, but I think handling the gecko. And I handled her, just like every day. Every day I'd open up her tub and see her and be like, come here, birdshot. And she'd just sit, chill in my hand. She was always a chill gecko.
So, okay, I'm glad you said that because, good old Hank Hill Country, he's still pretty young. So why are you laughing? That's his real name.
I know, it's just funny.
Is it because he's from the country or like, I'm just kidding. No, but listen, he's still young. So, I mean, obviously I don't mind taking my bites. It's worth it if you feel like that would kind of like get him used to the whole thing. So maybe handling him every day is okay, you feel like?
Probably to start off, no, not every day. Like a lot of the times people do want to handle their geckos every day. I would say, just start once a week. Take him out of his element. He's going to be a little bit afraid, a little bit scared, of course. But with leechies, it really is usually a territorial thing. They're just so territorial. Even if they're on their own piece of cork bark and you pull them out, he'll go to bite. It's a territorial thing. So if you just take them out of that element, they'll just kind of start to realize, oh, hey, maybe I just need to chill out and figure things out for a second,
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I just, like I said, I mean, he's definitely gotten a lot less bitey since he's kind of growing. And I don't know. I guess I just don't want to mess with him but I also feel like if these are able to be held after a certain age, maybe not every day, but at a point where they could get used to it, I'd be down for that, because I got to say one thing that a lot of people are like, kind of like in awe about my lace monitors is how docile it is. Like, I'm in my damn lace monitor's face every day. Like every day we say hi to each other. I'm putting hands on them. Unless it's a heavy feeding day, then I just leave them be for a little bit. But that has helped a lot. I've done that since they were little babies. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I don't know. But this is why I love working with stuff like we work with, because you kind of see a trust be built after so long. Once you kind of like, and you can't help but to respect a bond. Like once you see a bond with an animal, like, I mean, you get them with these awesome little crusties. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but with leechies, there's definitely like a yearling stage they go through. I mean, it's like a really mean yearling stage sometimes. I don't know if it's like a hormonal thing for them, but there definitely is. It's right at like a year and a half that some people do see more of a meaner streak in their leechies that they used to be able to hold.
Right.
And then they just kind of get through it, and a year later they're totally chill.
Yeah, so I have a wrap-up question before we get into some hot seat questions here, okay, Allie? And I'm curious as far as how much of this either that you're going through or your peers, or maybe you hear of this, but like how many of those customers are you having to like literally like coddle? And what I mean by that, like how many customers are you really kicking your ass? Like you're kicking yourself in the ass, like, God damn it, like they just can't figure this out. Like they're fucking like, God damn, you know what I mean? Like how many of those are you dealing with on a day-to-day basis, or maybe just on a seasonal basis? Like, is it common?
I'd say it's pretty common. I feel like it's more common, for the first time people. There still are people who, they're so anxious about that second crested gecko. Right. But once again, going to shows, my customers at shows, it's really easy to sit there and talk to them. And I actually have a creature care card. You can actually find those. The creature, I believe it's just creaturecarecard.com. You can order these little cards. They have them for ball pythons. The new cow species. I think she worked on.
You created this, you said?
No, I didn't. Actually, a friend did.
Oh, what? Okay,
yeah,
well, I want to check this out. So hold on, we're here. So this is it, right?
Creature care cards.
Wow,
yeah,
this is cool.
Yep. I think she has bearded dragons. She was expanding the list the last time I talked with her.
Okay, so full care guide.
Mm-hmm. It's really broken down. So like you can just hang customers the card at shows and still go over the detail with them at the show. Be like, look, here's a little card. This goes over everything. If you have any more questions, don't feel free to ask. Don't hesitate or whatever. But I think it really does help people out because they look over the card and everything and they're like, oh, okay, this is more simple. It's more broken down. It's not as much information to take in as I'm standing here listening to this breeder talk.
Yeah, and it's also like, think about how many, like I'm definitely, and it's not because of the pot. So if anyone trying to talk shit, but like I'm very forgetful. Like I know stuff, but then there's like stuff I just learned that when it happens, or how about stuff that you learn and then a year later it happens, you forget. It's good to have that shit just posted, ready to go for you to look at. I think that's a really good idea. I mean, I think that's smart, especially it doesn't hurt because if you sell something and anyone tries to talk shit saying, well, you never gave me anything to help, you can be like, well, yeah, I did. I gave you the creature care card. Hello. Don't try to go there with me, motherfucker. But I feel like the smartest thing, if you want to talk about evolving, which we didn't really get to talk about this much, but, kind of covering your end. Like, you want to talk about ball python breeders selling $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 snakes. Well, don't you want, if the money's like that, right? Well, how much is a test of health? Like how much is doing something to show that this animal's 100% perfect? Fuck it. If that's a common thing, then I don't care if that's the kind of money we're spending here. Like, but how much of importance is that? Like, do you feel like at some point?
I feel like crested geckos really don't get as much as other species do. They're really hardy.
What is the one thing that you could think of that a crested gecko or a gecko can get that's like spreadable and all that shit? What is it? There has to be something. Everything has something.
Right. Well, there's three main ones. So crypto, which isn't really commonly found. Entomobia, which actually was kind of rampant. Not like hugely rampant, but there were a couple people with it a couple years ago, like probably when I was first getting in. And then pinworms is kind of a huge thing, but I think the pinworms more or less come from the crickets, not really, environmental factors.
Whoa! What'd you say they come from?
Crickets.
Is that a grasshopper thing?
I don't know if grasshoppers carry anything. Because like, you have the brown and the banded crickets, and the browns are more susceptible to diseases, which is why people started using the bandeds.
Yeah, I got banded crickets. Like not crickets. Excuse me. My grasshoppers are hella banded. They look like tigers. Like they're fucking sick looking. They're awesome. Maybe it's because of the diet. Guess what? By the way, my grasshoppers eat organic squash, romaine lettuce, carrots. I care about the diet because here's another thing too. At first, when I got success breeding the crickets, or God damn it, not the crickets. When I first got success breeding the grasshoppers, I was just getting them romaine lettuce because I thought that's all you fed them. But what was crazy was Kai was getting a lot of customers who were getting really picky about what he was like. They were asking him questions like, what are you feeding? What are you feeding the grasshoppers? And he was only feeding romaine. And a lot of them had like, I guess either were putting them on game or like either telling them, well, listen, they need to be more than just romaine. And so he started implementing a lot of other organic vegetables. And ever since I started giving them other stuff other than romaine, dude, there's like these tiger looking fucking grasshoppers that are so cool looking. And like, I send him pictures all the time. I'm like, bro, what is this? And he's like, dude, it's just because what you're feeding them. Like, they're like glowing. Like they're showing their true potential, what they're supposed to be. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. And then, but think about that. Like, I know whatever I feed that grasshopper goes into my monitors. Like, it's like, dude, how can you, like, listen, I love steak, but I really love a great salad every now and then. Like, or I love like a great, like, listen, if I have mashed potatoes, if I have steak, and if I have salad, I will take a bite of each on my fork and put it in my mouth. I like the combo. I'm a combo guy, but you need it, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so glad we talked about the grasshopper thing. I really did. I was almost scared that was like a known thing not to feed the geckos or anything, but I don't think enough people have tapped into it yet. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It needs to be tapped into for sure. So, man, great episode, Allie. We killed that shit. Dude,
Awesome.
hour 45 minutes went by fast, but guess what? We have hot seat questions. You're just not going to leave here as cool as you are. We have hot seat questions. Are you ready for these or what?
Yeah, hit me.
All right, here we go. I'm not going to relax. I'm not going to hit you, okay? People out there are waiting for me to do something like that, and they're going to try to cancel me. I'm just kidding. You got to want to be canceled to get canceled, by the way. You ain't ever canceling me. But listen, hot seat questions for Allie Ross. Hidden Valley Geckos. Guys, let's get the likes up. Man, there was well over 60 people in this damn fucking chat. Shout out to everyone who was tuning in. Man, what a great show. 55 likes. Let's go. Okay, here we go. Hot seat questions. Allie Ross. You ready, Allie?
Sure.
Here we go. Frozen thought or live?
Live.
Favorite gecko diet?
BPZ.
Favorite gecko species?
Oh, gosh. So Urodactylodes.
Least favorite gecko species?
Oh, geez. I don't even know.
Come on, knock it off. There's one. Okay, what's one you're good on? Come on.
What's one I'm good? Geez. I don't know. We'll say Chihuahuas.
Oh wow, that was I really regret saying that now. Thanks. I'm just kidding.
Well, look, I like baby Chihuahuas, but I don't like adult Chihuahuas.
You see how it's getting hot? You feel that? Okay. Just kidding. Red chondro neo or yellow chondro neo?
Oh,
If you had a
yellow.
pick. Okay. Oh, I like that. Pre first shed meal or post first shed meal?
Post.
Yay imports or boo imports?
Yay.
One reptile you would import to your collection anywhere around the world, what would it be?
Then I don't know if I'm gonna say it right. The Nautilus gray eye.
Ooh, okay. What about one reptile nobody should ever import? Leave it the fuck alone. Don't touch it.
That's a good question. I honestly.
What about the turtles? Like, I mean, dude,
The turtles?
leave them alone. Yeah, dude, that's the
I mean, yeah, I get
number one FBI bust in the reptile game, or because of turtles. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Leave them alone.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I answered that for you. That's not right. We have to start over now. I'm just kidding. Okay, we're pushing forward. Here we go. Yay sports or boo sports?
Yay.
Favorite sport?
Probably volleyball.
What? I don't know what to say after that. I usually say, like, because it's normally like basketball or football or baseball, volleyball. Okay, hold on. Let me think of this one. God damn it. Favorite volleyball player?
I'm gonna tell you what, I have honestly not watched as much volleyball, so I really do not have one. It's just a favorite sport.
Okay, God bless you. I mean, we're gonna leave it at that. How about this? To miss a gecko or to not miss a gecko?
Like directly?
Just, I mean, yeah, I guess directly. Yeah, directly.
No.
No. Okay. Why not? Is that bad? Should I not? Should I stop?
It depends on how hard your spray is. I guess the mist is.
It's like it's very light.
Maybe they like it. I don't know. Maybe they like taking the showers. I don't know.
Okay, but you personally, you're not a director. You're you're area spray.
Well, it's a pretty hard stream. So no for me.
How do you spray your geckos?
I have a pump sprayer.
Nice. So you fit, you're a manual sprayer.
Yep, all hand spray.
Cool. Steak or fish?
Ooh. Fish.
Favorite fish entree of all time? Come on.
Tuna.
Tuna. Like what kind of like bluefin, or what kind of tuna are we talking about? Just tuna?
Yeah,
straight?
like bluefin tuna steaks.
God, sounds
Like-
delicious.
Medium rare.
Oof, that's it. You just got to sear them just a little bit, like 2 minutes
Yeah.
aside or something like that. All right, beautiful. Van Halen or Sammy Hagar?
Van Halen.
West Coast rap or East Coast rap?
East Coast.
Favorite East Coast rapper of all time?
Oh God, I don't even listen to that much rap, and you're gonna put me on that hot spot.
Allie, you have to think of, if you're saying this is your favorite, how do you not have a favorite?
Well, you're asking me the questions.
I know there has to be a rapper. Like, I mean, come on, there has to be somebody. Like, let's go. I know it's getting hot right now. I get it.
Dude,
but
like Eminem's the only one I can.
thank you. I mean, that's
Okay.
that's kind of racist, but no problem. Who cares? Eminem. I'm just kidding.
It's the only one I can
I'm
think
just
of.
kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, here we go. We're almost done. A little word association. First thing to come to mind. Milk.
Pop-Tarts.
Wow. Oh my God. That's awesome. I've never had that answer. I love Pop-Tarts. My wife doesn't let me get them no more, but I love them. They give me a stomach ache. Cocoa.
Powder.
Substrate.
Chips.
FedEx shipping.
I hate it.
Reptile shows.
Love them.
The ball python community.
I like some of the people that are in it.
First time gecko breeder.
You're welcome to the community.
Oh shit! I thought you meant
I
like
meant to the community.
you're welcome with my presence, motherfucker. I was like, dude, she's so boss for that. Oh my God. I was gonna end it. I was about to end it. That was so sick. Okay, we're almost done. FedEx shipping. Did I say FedEx shipping?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Instagram trolls.
Hate them.
If you had to get rid of one platform forever, and I mean forever, is it going to be TikTok or YouTube?
TikTok.
There we go. Thank you so much for not firing me. But listen, Allie, you did it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We had well over 60 people tapped in for this amazing episode. And I got to tell you right now, man, this was a great episode. But what do you have to say to all your supporters out there, your friends, all your loved ones, anyone who's listening tonight? What do you have to say to them?
Dude, I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody. Like everybody I've talked to, everybody I'm friends with. I mean, without you guys, I am serious. None of this could have ever happened. And I am so happy to be in this community. I love all you guys.
Well, that's all we have on this segment with Allie Ross. Allie, I got to say, I mean, I don't know what your schedule's like, but I'm trying to do some crazy next level podcasts in 2023. And what I mean by that, more girl power. And I feel like you got some really good connections with some girls killing it in the Gecko game. Can we maybe talk about this and maybe figure out a good roundtable in the future and get more girls like you out here and talking geckos? Do you think we could do that?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, then I'm looking forward to a round two, but that's a wrap for our homegirl, Allie Ross, over at Hidden Valley Geckos, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Allie, enjoy your night. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and we'll you better go follow me right now. We're friends.
I will.
We're friends. Thank you. Hey, have a good night. Thank you so much, Allie.
Thanks, you too.
Woo! Girl power. Hey, that's right. Let's go. Girl power. That's what I'm talking about. Great episode, man. I appreciate everyone who tapped in. Honestly, learned a lot. Loved it. Next level type energy. I got to say, man, I'm happy. Shout out to my boy Kenny again. Cold-blooded only. Go give him a follow, okay? But then also, more importantly, go give Allie Ross a follow, okay? I feel like this girl has a lot going on as far as playerness goes. And, yeah, go tap into her stuff. Please, go give her a follow. Hidden Valley Geckos. And, yeah, shout out to everyone who tapped in. I got to say that we have a really big week ahead of us. Other than tomorrow night, let's get tomorrow night real quick squared away, because I have somebody really awesome coming to the platforms. New Breeder on the Block series, my boy Aaron, aka Kiki of Bosa Balls out of Homestead, Florida. It's going down tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for New Breed on the Block series. But guys, your boy's coming a long ways. Starting to make amends. If any of you guys remember 2021, the February fiasco. You remember that fucking dipshit who talked shit about the Texans who lost a lot of animals during that winter storm? You guys remember that? Remember I brought that dickhead on my show? Oh, man, so many people were mad at me for that. Oh, because they thought I was trying to back the dickhead up. But no, I was trying to make a point. Anyways, one of the guys who was really upset about that, and man, we went at it. I'm not going to lie. Well, guess what? We're going to talk about it. We're going to finally come together and let bygones be bygones. At the end of the day, if you're into the ball python game, you know exactly kind of what the fuck I'm talking about here. I'm bringing Josh Lundberg of Ball Python Shed to the podcast for the very first time. And yeah, man, I actually got to meet this guy in person at Pomona Reptile Super Show. And we talked, and I thought, listen, I don't think anyone would expect this. And like I said, anyone who knows the drama I'm talking about, I don't think any of you guys would expect this. But yeah, here we go. This is going to be the first Thursday of the next 3 Thursdays where I'm bringing somebody on the show where nobody would expect it. So a lot of things are going to be discussed. I'll tell you that. We're going to get deep, man. Big things popping. So be ready. Set your reminder. It's all going to go down. Coolest Reptile Podcast in the world. Again, if you are looking for exclusive content, if you want to support what I do, because this is what I do. It's my full-time job, man. But if you're looking to tap in, if you want to get tapped in with some amazing long-term keepers, people who are doing this for the long term, then go to the very first link you see below and join the Trap Talk Patreon family. As soon as you become a part of the Patreon family, you get a link to the Discord, and that Discord taps you in with over 150 trappers. I'm telling you right now, man, the Discord's where it's at. Shout out to all my trappers. But most importantly, shout out to Allie Ross. This was a great episode. Thank you to everyone who tapped in. But that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Drive safely if you're driving. I'll catch you on the flip side, and I'm out.